G'day golfers! Well, this video is aimed at the longer hitters out there, the guys and girls who can hit it over 100 yards with their wedge and try to out in the golf course. So if you don't hit the ball particularly far, then we've got a video in the corner here just for you, help you go and get some more distance. Okay, so for those golfers who do hit it a fair distance, we're going to focus on some wedge play today, some approaches into the green, and find a couple of ways to help you be a little bit more consistent and get a bit more control on the greens. Welcome to Aussie Golf Pros. So this approach shot we have here is playing 90 metres, and I can hit that distance with my sand wedge. I've got a 55-degree Cleveland wedge here, and that's pretty much the distance I can hit this club, maxed out. If I hook it, yeah, I can get it to go further, but we're not talking about that. Just a standard straight shot, I can carry that ball to that pin. But there is a problem with that, and I implore you not to choose that club from this sort of range. If you're trying to hit full wedges, full sand wedges, full gap wedges, and full lob wedges into greens, you are not going to be very consistent with that shot, and you're not going to get a very good proximity to the hole. And that's what it's all about. These are finesse shots. It's not about how far you can hit a wedge. It's about knowing how far you can hit a wedge. And that's the real key here. We want some control, we want some consistency coming into the green. Now I've got a red flag, and here at Monash that means it's on the front, so I definitely need a certain amount of spin because I want the ball to stop quickly. And most golfers make the mistake of seeing that pin there and say, right, I need to hit it high. I need to hit it high and get it to stop. But you just don't. You don't need to hit it high. You do need good quality, consistent contact so you can impart some spin on the golf ball and get some good control over the ball that way. So the issue with hitting a full sand wedge is, obviously you've got the full backswing, and then what happens here is that a lot of golfers then release the club quite early through the shot. That's a typical mistake that we see with club golfers. And we see that very high shot, but not necessarily as much spin as we can achieve. We see the grass being hit first, bit of a drop kick type, or very easy to thin the shot, and ultimately not as much consistency of ball striking that we're after. What we want an impact with these lofted clubs is we want the shaft to be more forward. We want to get into the habit of hitting the grass after the golf ball, compressing the golf ball better, imparting a more consistent spin, and ultimately getting more control when the ball hits the green. That's what we want, and we don't need to hit a full swing to achieve that. Let's change to the gap wedge where I can just hit it with maybe an 80% swing. So pop the sand wedge away. 50-degree Cleveland wedge now, a shorter backswing, and if you want to, you can have the full length follow through. Lots of golfers play it that way. I like to abbreviate the finish a little bit, and that helps me to just commit to the shot a little bit more. It's just the way I like to do it. I like to have the backswing and follow through the same length. But there's nothing wrong when playing these 3/4, 80% type shots of having a bit of a shorter backswing and then a full finish. That's the Dave Peltz way, and there's plenty of good golfers that do it that way. Either way, what we're doing here is we're reducing the club head speed, and we're getting a little bit more control over the contact of the shot, because as we shorten that backswing and shorten the shot and reduce that speed, that means we're going to, for most golfers, get a little bit more forward shaft lean and more consistent contact. Now I know what a lot of you are going to say is when I play those half shots, I mess it up all the time. Sure, it's going to take a little bit of practice. But if you really want to improve your golf and improve your proximity to hole from these sorts of distances, I guarantee you this is going to help you. You won't see the tour pros playing full wedges and full sand wedges into the greens unless they really need to impart a lot of spin. And bearing in mind, they're playing on firmer greens than we do. So most of the time, a 3/4 shot for us is going to stop pretty well on the green. You don't need to jack it up. In fact, if I tried to hit a full sand wedge here, let's say I got it all the way there and I hit it well, carried it at that 90 metres all the way to the pin, with the amount of spin that's possible with a full shot, it's very easy to spin that ball off the green. Front pin, remember, and that's if it comes off well. If I don't strike it really perfectly, I can easily pull up short, the green's slightly elevated, and it's very easy to just fall off of that false front and then come down and I'm chipping. I've turned a birdie opportunity into a bogey possibility. Now, much more consistently, we're going to hit this 80% gap wedge shot and it's going to come out lower than, a lot lower than a full sand wedge, that's for sure. And that's really good in the wind too. All right, I'm going to aim it just left of the pin there. A little bit shorter backswing. And I've achieved what I wanted to do. You can see there that that ball flight was a lot lower than a full sand wedge would be. But we're going to get up on the green now and have a look, see how quickly it stopped. There we go. There's my pitch mark. The ball's gone forward a metre. Even with this red flag, I have around 8 metres to work with. Really don't need to come in with a high, really high spinning sand wedge, which could easily just spin off the green anyway. And I think a lot of golfers just, when they see a front pin, they just want to launch it so high up in the air, but we get that drop kick and we don't get as clean a contact and as good control over the ball as we're capable. So it really is a case of playing sensibly, using some different yardages rather than just your full out yardage. I have 4 yardages for every wedge in my bag, and that might be a little bit too extreme, but you should definitely at least have 2 yardages for each of your wedges, your full shot and maybe a 3/4 shot. And you can work off that. It really does give you some confidence with those less than full shots, and I guarantee you're going to get better contact and better strike on the golf ball when you learn how to play those 3/4 shots. So different lie now, ball sitting down in the rough a little bit. I've 113 metres slightly uphill. So for a pitching wedge, that's probably going to pull out just short, but coming out the rough, I expect the ball to release a little bit on the green. And also because it's sitting down a little bit, I'm not going to hit that 75–80% shot. We're going to go for a full swing here. I'm not going to scoop it up in the air. That's, again, a lot of club golfers, they try to lift it out of the rough. We need to trust the loft of the club to do the work for us. We want compression. We want that forward shaft lean, and I'm going to hit down on the ball a little bit and reduce the amount of grasp trapped between the club and the ball. We're still going to get some, and that's why that ball's going to release a little bit on the green, but I'm definitely not going to try to help it up in the air. Right, full power this time. Again, a little left of the flag. A couple of reasons I've done that previously on the 11th hole and now here is because of where the pin is tucked, but also that the ball is a little bit below my feet, especially on that 11th hole, it was just a little bit below my feet. And here, the trouble's all on the right-hand side with that bunker, and the contours are going to let that ball bring in towards the flag. So the flag shouldn't always be your target. You've got to use the contours and also check the lie that you're on to see what sort of shape we expect the ball to fly in the air. So again, just left of the pin and full power. Hitting down on the golf ball. Really get that forward shaft lean. Little left of the pin, a little bit of fade, so coming in. And let's check to see what sort of release we get on the green now. So as expected, just a little bit of a release here. I've pitched here and the ball's rolled around 3 metres forward. And that's to be expected. In fact, you've got to play for it. You've got to check your lie out to work out how far the ball is going to roll or spin back when it gets up onto the green. That's part of the planning process. You want to assess the lie and your distance and the green before choosing your club, not the other way around. And look, I've finished up a little bit short of the pin here, but I don't mind that. I was coming out the rough, I could have easily got a bit of a flyer, and if I'd gone with the soft 9-iron, I might not have achieved the strike that I wanted coming through the rough, and I could have easily run through into the back of the green if I got a bit of a flyer. So the full wedge, I stand by that decision, even though it's pulled up a little bit short of the pin. It was a good choice for the lie that I had. And on to the beautiful 13th hole at Monash. Lovely little dogleg par 4, and this is a typical spot that a lot of club golfers get to. Down the hill a little bit, I've got 78 metres to a back pin, and realistically I can get lob wedge there quite easily. It's downhill lie and downhill to the pin, so it's only playing about 70 metres, which is a comfortable lob wedge. But look where the pin is, it's up the back. If I hit full lob wedge here, especially off of this downslope, very easy to compress it a little bit too much, and just fly the green. I see it every week. So I'm going to play my 80% sand wedge shot, my 55-degree Cleveland wedge shot, and that's a good number for me. I hit that 68 meters, so I expected to just land just short of the pin and then hop up a little bit because we're on that downslope. And that's what it's all about, is having good numbers. And if you've only got one number per club, then you've got a reduced chance of having good number into the pin. So an 80% shot for me is literally that. It's 80% back, 80% through, 80% speed. And I'm going to get a little bit of weight on the front foot and tilt my spine forward a little bit because I am on that downslope. And because the green is running right to left, I'm going to aim it just right of the pin. There's always having a plan, a strategy, visualizing what the ball's going to do in the air, what it does when it hits the green, and how much spin you're going to achieve. And just right of the pin. So I got the line right. I think it's just short of the pin. Maybe didn't quite get the kick on forward that I expected, but I'm fairly happy with it. The strategy was there, and then I learned from that, okay, I needed to carry it a little bit further next time. And it's not like I'm going to remember every shot, but it goes into that subconscious mind, and then we continually improve. Putting a strategy in place is how you improve, because if you hit a shot without any strategy, how can you learn from it? So have a look at your lie, decide what sort of trajectory you want and what it's going to do on the green, then choose your club. And more often than not, when you're hitting a wedge in, you're going to be much better off and more consistent if you go with less than full. You need to have at least 2 different yardages per wedge. And I'd suggest to start with, have a full yardage and a 3/4 yardage and work on from there. Thanks so much for watching. You can save a heap of strokes out on the golf course through clever course management, better shot selection. It's not always about hitting it as hard as possible. Sure, off the tee most of the time it is, but when you have those approach shots with the wedges, it's definitely going to stand you in good stead if you can learn those 1/2 and 3/4 shots. Now, if you're keen to learn more about the low shots that we talked about, then pop into the corner here. We've got a great video to help you with your punch shot and your stinger. And we look forward to your company next week. Are you the best golfer you can be?